This is a quote from Herbie Hancock. Instead of getting jazz cats who knew how to play funk, I got funk cats who knew how to play jazz. This week we're getting into Herbie Hancock, Headhunters. Shoot, did I hit record yet? I gotcha.
Yeah, you did.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Unconnoisseurs of Jazz.
Yes, welcome. We're ready for tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I've been jazzed up all week, anyways, ready to discuss tonight. Because just in case you don't know, I'm a Herbie Hancock fan. I like Herbie. I like all aspects of Herbie.
Yeah.
Herbie's a cool cat, isn't he?
Yeah, it sure is.
A lot of decades of music. What were you saying, Dan?
Oh, I don't even remember what I was saying.
Here's what I say. I say let's play a clip.
There you go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's start at the very beginning of this album. There's not a whole lot of tracks on this album.
Nope.
4 to be exact. And on the first song, let's just go ahead and jump into that. The first track is Chameleon, and that is what I wanted to hear. I'm going to start at about 2:15. We're hearing some unique things happening, but I really wanted to get into the head of the song. That was important for me for a couple of reasons coming up. So here we're going to start at 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
That's a great clip. Tell us why you picked it, though.
There's a lot going on with of course, it's synthesizers. A lot of electronics going on. There is some really great sound, but it's about the head to me. We were given this track one night, Sunday night, and told that we needed to be able to play the melody or the head. So as different sections, we had to come up with that. The bass guitarist had a blast coming up with that background. And of course, the piano, it's a piano, so he didn't get to play much with the synthesizer noise. To me, Chameleon is one of those epic songs that when you hear it, you know it. It's an earwig. It is the true representation when Herbie left Mwandishi to form the Headhunters. He wanted a true funk sound, and that's this jazz funk sound to me. That's Chameleon.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love the overall album. So
well, it's funny because I remember back in high school, we would play that tune at basketball games as the pep band, and it was just a tune. He probably passed it out, said, "Hey, we're going to do this when I call it." Blah 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 blah. But I never knew it was Herbie. I never knew it was jazz. Because it was just a pep band
song.
Yeah, a pep band song to get the crowd going. So it's cool. I love the clip.
That's a cool memory.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, from Camille. Well, I'm sure you still hear pep bands do it, today.
Mm-hmm.
And
some that do.
I think they used it on a few commercials too. Chameleon.
I'm sure it's been used in a million ways.
Yeah. So
probably not as many ways as the next sound clip might be, but
all right, that'd be my clip. Do I get to go next?
I think so.
Okay, so my track is song number 2 on the album, and it's called Watermelon Man. So, and Watermelon. Start me right at 0 and just play about the first 40 or 45 seconds.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna shut it off right
Yeah.
before it gets into.
Yeah, right before it gets into the head.
Yes.
And that's okay, because we were singing the tune just a second ago, and that is the head of the tune. But I was more interested in this because as I was researching the song and picking this as my clip on the wiki page, on the intro and the outro of the tune, the percussionist Bill Summers blows into beer bottles in an imitation of Hindui, a style of song whistle playing. So the boop up, boop up, boop up, boop up, boop. He's blowing into beer bottles. And then the slide whistle flute comes in. Bop, 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 bop. So I just thought that was really cool how in the age of funk and the electric, they still find ways to make it interesting with different. A beer bottle's not an instrument, but he turned a beer bottle into an instrument.
Well, what strikes me about the entrance is over the last year, there's been a lot of social media about the pygmy flute, which is a single instrument flute. And you blow into it, and it only makes one noise. But it's what you do after. It's like that call and response or that question and answer from last week's episode. You blow in, and then you make a noise.
Using the same technique. I'm teaching you how to do it. You should pay me.
Sorry, I had to, but you're right. All this heavy electronics, and you're going to go with something so rudimentary and simple as a bottle and a slide whistle.
Yeah.
Just cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So, I kind of wondered what that instrument was. I thought maybe it was like an electronic sax or something that was playing, but to learn
if I wasn't researching it like you, I thought it was just Herbie on the keys, finding the sound that he wanted and just playing that on the keys. But it wasn't until I started reading about this version of the song that I realized, oh yeah, those are beer bottles. So
it's music, it's jazz. Let's have fun with it.
Right. Reinvent it, because if you don't reinvent it, you get just stale. Stale. Yep.
So, Dad, what track did you want to hear off this album?
Let's go with Vein Meat Melter at roughly 2 minutes. Start it. No, I'm sorry, 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Vein Melter was the last track on the album, so we're skipping Sly. Vein Melter starting at 8 minutes.
That'll wake you up, won't
it? Yeah, for sure.
It's probably one of the chillest, but what strikes you about that?
Well, that's what it was. It was just soft and chill. It just kind of flowed in a smooth, rhythmic kind of action. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get this keyboard synthesizer probably coming into the picture. But I didn't pick up the drums on the track like I had done as I chose that, because there's some good drum beat back there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll boost the drums a little bit in that
Yeah.
when we finish that. Why does it not surprise me? You would go after the drums.
Of course. Of course.
I mean, it doesn't have any trumpets, so I can't run after the trumpeter. But
Yep.
But you know what stood out to me just listening just now to the clip again? Benny Maupin on the bass clarinet. He's down there in the lower register, boom, 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 deep down on that bass clarinet, and you can really tell it's a bass clarinet. Well, not only because I'm looking at it, but just the way that it sounds is it's not like a
have you been listening to Courtney Pine again this week?
I cannot tell a lie.
It's in your head. It is in your head.
Yeah.
I think this track was a good sample of the overall album because it goes from like we're talking about Chameleon, and then to Watermelon Man, Sly. You could have picked anything from Sly, and it would have represented what the album's about. And then a softer side to this album is the fourth track. So it's a good blend, to me, a good blend of what this album is all about.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't rearrange it though and put Vein Melter in the middle, just a kind of an ebb and flow, because Chameleon is such a hard driving tune. Watermelon Man is another, not necessarily hard funk, but it is more upbeat. You would almost think you'd want to ebb up the the amperage there and then kind of wind it back down and then bring it back up for the end of the album. It's just something I thought about earlier this week.
The other reason I chose this is because I like the title of the track. You think about a headhunter.
Yeah.
They're going to melt your veins. Did you hit pause?
There were 3 reasons why they got called headhunters. So I'm just thinking, oh Lord, how did we get to rated R conversation? Let's go back to PG-13. PG-13. Oh man.
Anyway,
it's awesome though, Matt, the way in which this week you listened to it and thought, which order would I put the songs in? We listen to so much music week after week, and we've been on 80 weeks of music already. It's been a whole lot, and each week we find something new, we find something old, we go back to something new that's old, we listen to something old that's new, and yet you listen to it with that reverence, and you go, I might have changed the order of the songs on this album.
Yeah,
that's the bizarre thing, is that I listened to it all, but I never thought that. What would I have done different? Vein Melter, to me, I was expecting something a little bit more bizarre and heavy. Ended on that note, but no, it was just so nice and chill. So let's get into some information, or do you want to get into our week in music?
I got the slideshow ready. Let's do the slideshow real quick.
Slideshow it is.
All right, here we go. Very first slide. Just like I say every week, whatever you do it to jazz. You're going to hear coming up in just a little bit. That's pretty much what we do. Tonight's album, number 20 on our countdown. And just in case this is your very first episode with us, we are using the JazzWise magazine's top 100 albums that shook the world from 2022. We are counting down from 100, and we are actually on number 20 this week. Herbie Hancock, Headhunters from 1973. I did put a picture of the album cover on there. We're not going to talk about it too much. I think it's cool. Very 70s. What do you think?
Very 70s. Yeah.
Yeah. Dad, any thoughts on the cover?
Yeah.
It's funny because I like, and we're not going to talk about it too much, but I like when bands, they stick with the same kind of theme. So Return of the Headhunters from 1998 uses that same head symbol with the antlers coming out of it in a different way. So I just think it's cool. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Jazz style for the day. We are going in alphabetical, or I'm going in alphabetical order, and the next one in the list, British dance band. I had to look this one up. British dance band is a genre of popular jazz and dance music that developed in British dance halls and hotel ballrooms during the 1920s and 30s. So, I got a list here of the British dance band leaders from the 20s and 30s. I don't know any of them. I didn't study any of them. I do kind of recognize one name, which is Montavani. But he's really the only one that even made a slight tremor on my, because, well, yeah, British dance jazz is not, didn't make the list.
No.
Well, Montavani, good heavens, I had albums, I had LPs on from him.
So
So you've been listening to jazz for a long time.
You know what?
it was
If I
not
would've said-
jazz, it was British dance band.
If I would have said to you 35 years ago, I'm listening, and you would have said, "Oh, it sounds like elevator music," but the music was really, I mean, orchestrated. It was really good music.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Montavani.
When
That's cool.
when I saw this come over, man, I thought, what in the world is British dance band? And I'm
Uh-huh.
going to put a slide up now with some information on it. But it cracked me up when you go into Wikipedia and read about it, because there are two facts that stood out to me. Thousands of miles away from the origins of jazz,
Uh-huh.
this British dance band takes off. It's different, and they verify it's British. It's different than American jazz. It was pre-World War II.
Uh-huh.
Some of the British dance band leaders came over to the U.S. and got popular, but thanks to Britain's continuing ballroom dance tradition, the British dance music of the pre-swing era still attracts a modest audience, unlike the American dance music of the same period. Very British statements about this is British, this is not American big band. And it goes on to clarify it's not big band, it was
Right.
British dance, and it brought a happy, melodic dance theme to it. I'm glad it's not American jazz big band. I wipe my hands on that one.
Yeah.
So I don't want to stir up too much controversy, but there was a movie out years ago called "They Shoot Horses, Don't They?" And it was a dance competition. Couples would dance until the last couple survived, and it lasted for like 4, 5, or 6 days, where these couples were dancing together, and the last ones won some kind of a prize, and it was dance music. I'm not sure it was Montavani, but it was.
There's a host of names. You can go check this out. And what was the name of the movie again?
They Shoot Horses, Don't They?
Okay. Was that a silent film? Did you
No,
watch
that
it
was-
in the theater when it came out?
There was a big. No, never mind.
Oh man.
Oh, you're bad. You're bad. You're bad. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Where you can get it, of course, you can find it on. You can find Headhunters on all the major streaming platforms. We prefer that you go out to your local record store and buy local.
And I messed your slide up. Available everywhere that great music can be streamed.
There you go.
Buy local.
Buy local. Perfect. That's great. I'll change my slide for next week. I did put a quote at the bottom of that slide by Herbie. The value of music is to be able to play one note the right time, the right way. One note is all it takes, and we talked about that with Miles Davis too. The note's only 20%. The attitude is 80%. Herbie's got a different take. Herbie says, play the right note at the right time in the right way. So I love that. I love the quote, because if you've only got one note, you've got to play it right.
And that leads me to this. I think last week, Dad, it was at the end of the episode, you asked a question. What is a butter note?
And you want me to go to
I think let's do that because I think that quote fits perfectly. What is a butter note? When Miles said to Herbie, don't play the butter notes. Stop playing the butter notes. What was a butter note?
you don't mind if I read because I don't
Please
understand
read.
chords, fifth and seventh and all that stuff.
Read it.
Butter notes refer to the predictable or comfortable notes within a chord or scale, often the most obvious or consonant ones like the third and seventh. Miles famously told Herbie, don't play the butter notes, which encouraged exploring less obvious intervals and creating more harmonic interest and unexpected sounds. Butter notes. Okay, that's what I found. Do I understand it?
Predictable tunes.
And sometimes it means don't play what you think sounds good. Play something that is dissonant. It's different than a blue note. Okay, because if you're doing a solo and you're a blue note soloist, you don't play any of the what sounds good notes. You play everything that doesn't sound good. So a butter note would be maybe and actually on the Reddit that I was reading, there's some argument whether he said bottom note or butter note. Don't play the bottom note. Don't play the root of the chord on the bottom note, maybe. But the butter note sounds better. And yeah, it's point of contention with the Reddit group that I was in.
Well, tell him to go watch all the YouTube videos when Herbie says what Miles told him.
And he leaned over and he said, don't play the butter notes. And like you said, I was thinking, what does that mean? But Miles said it, so it must mean something. So I had to figure something out. So I thought, what is butter? I said, butter is fat. Oh, fat, excess. Oh, and so I figured out something about leaving certain notes out of chords that would make the chords really obvious.
Dad, did you say you did or did not understand the chords and butter note?
Do you think I did? Hardly. No, I'm still very much on the connoisseur.
Anyways, we're going deep. Next slide.
Next slide. Here we go. The timeline slide. This was fun to put together this weekend. We have focused on Herbie before. We've covered Herbie just 7 weeks ago, believe it or not. So I wanted to do my timeline slide this week as the Headhunters. So yes, Herbie was born in 1940. This album, again, was released in 1973. But in 1974, Thrust was the next album released by Headhunters. So we're kind of moving it. I don't want to say moving away from Herbie and into the Headhunters, but Herbie, like you said, had just left Mwandishi and started this new sound, and it turned into a whole new group.
Yes.
It turned into something that maybe I'm not saying he wasn't expecting, but it turned into a movement, and the group was formed. 1974, Thrust was the name of the album. 1975, Survival of the Fittest was the album that was released by Headhunters, not Herbie Hancock, Headhunters. And then they released another album in 1998 called Return of the Headhunters.
Now they went back with Herbie in 98. They continued to produce albums along the way as Headhunters, but Herbie was no longer part of Headhunters.
Do you have that timeline slide?
I do. It's up.
Okay,
it will
perfect.
be up in 3, 2, 1.
Perfect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 albums is what Herbie. No, 1, 2, 3. Herbie covers 4 albums within Headhunters. Yep. They do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 albums without him, and then 2 live albums without him.
And the black lines that you're seeing run vertical are the studio albums. The light gray lines running vertical are the live albums.
Right.
And Herbie wasn't part of that live in I guess that's 2009, 2010. So
the
purple line at the top was Herbie.
Yep.
I'm
Which-
sorry, you guys can't see me pointing to my screen. Here, look at that.
So, and if you want to view the timeline slide better, go ahead and head over to the Headhunters wiki page. That's where we picked this up.
Links in description below.
Links in the description below. So let's move on to the information slide. So some of the influences, the Headhunters was kind of hard to research, but I'm just picking influences like I hear them. It's definitely a strong funk influence. If you head over to the Unconnoisseur website and look at the timeline that we've got posted on the website for the 70s, I mean the funk fits right into the timeline. This album especially fits right into the timeline that's listed on the unconnoisseur.com website. Herbie's jazz background. You can't dismiss that these artists have the jazz in them anyways, and so they're moving away from the jazz into the funk. So that's the influences that I found. Drew, what else you got?
That was it. I mean, it was important. My intro just reminded, find the funk folks that could play jazz.
Yeah.
He wanted a very unique sound, so you have to go to that scene to pick up those musicians. His influences coming from his strong history of jazz, their influences, I didn't get into Benny Maupin a whole lot, but their influences were coming from a whole different place. And of course, Herbie then coming from jazz and Miles, steps into Mwandishi and has this really cool sound and says it's not going funk enough. So I hear, I feel, I want, and that, I mean, life influences you.
Mm-hmm.
So life influence.
Cool. All right. I like it. Headhunters have 9 studio releases and 2 live releases. The genre is fairly easy. It's the jazz, the rock, and the funk. Mostly funk. I should have maybe put funk on top, but is it jazz?
Yes.
Cool. I like it.
To me, it is.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna bring up something a little bit later that just puts a stamp on that for me. But
Okay. Cool.
I don't care what nobody says. This is jazz.
This is definitely jazz.
Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, mister.
6 degrees this week was super easy. Herbie's all over Miles anyways, so it was very easy. 6 degrees to Miles Davis. A few facts. The band and the album name came from. No, wait a minute. Yeah, no, the band and the album name came from Buddhist chanting. Or was it?
No, that's it.
Okay, that's it. Cool.
Yep.
And then Mwandishi, as we talked about just a second ago, was getting a little stale for Herbie. So he wanted something new, and that's what he got. The Headhunters album that we're talking about tonight sold more than 1 million copies.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. What else can you say? I mean,
There wasn't a whole lot like it. I mean, there was a lot of different jazz fusion. There was a lot of jazz rock. There was a lot of funk going on, but Herbie had something unique.
well, 2 weeks ago we talked about Mahavishnu,
Yep.
and that's not really the same. But in my notes I made, is this Mahavishnu light? Is this? But it's not. This is completely different. This Mahavishnu was the rock, and this is the
Yep.
funk. So cool.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the final slide in the slideshow for me today in jazz history. This episode released August the 6th, and on today's history, I just about lost it there. Pianist George Shearing was born in 1919 in London. Pianist Mulgrew Miller was born in 1955 in Greenwood, Mississippi. Baritone sax Jerry Mulligan records with Thelonious Monk in 1957. So that's the one I'm most interested in is Jerry Mulligan, because I've got a love relationship with Jerry Mulligan. So
Dude, you bring out a baritone saxophone and play it, I'm gonna get giddy like a little kid. I always have, always will. The young man that plays in our Sunday night, he honks the horn. I don't care what note it is. I just get giddy. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I got one final quote by Herbie at the bottom of this slide. I got a chance to work with Miles Davis, and that changed everything for me, because Miles really encouraged all his musicians to reach beyond what they know. Go into the unknown territory and explore. It's made a difference to me and the decision that I've made over the years about how to approach a project in this music. I felt like that was a fitting quote for especially tonight's album. I mean, go beyond what you know, explore something different, and let it go. Just do it.
Approach music in that manner.
Yeah.
Go play the impossible. Isn't that what Sun Ra said? Everybody's played the possible. Now play the impossible.
Yeah.
Stretch
Exactly.
your boundaries. Reach beyond. Go into the unknown. Herbie was no Sun Ra, but a quote like that reminds me of the. You got to push yourself, right?
You do. Absolutely. But no Herbie either.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know where you get it. Every week, you come out swinging, and you hit a home run almost every single week.
They're like grand slams week after week. I'm like, what? Will you disclose?
Deep research that takes hours and hours.
Excuse me. I'm not sure if that was a sneezer. Oh. So this week's What's New?
I'll tell you, I say this every week, I'm sure. I like this album. It's done by the Ezra Collective, and it's called Dance No One's Watching. And the feel of this music it really is collective, and the videos I watched, there's a whole group of people just dancing, almost like, you know how the scripture talked about David dancing, bringing the ark back into the temple, and he embarrassed himself. These folks are dancing like nobody. They don't care. They're just dancing their lives out and expressing themselves in jazz movement. And when this collective gathers, oftentimes they're doing it live, and they're in the middle of a dance floor, and people are dancing all around.
Well, after a short internet fail, we're back.
Wonderful.
So you were telling me about their live shows.
Yes, when the Ezra Collective does their live shows, they stand in the middle of an auditorium, and people that are there to hear them are dancing around them, and they're just celebrating dance as a jazz image, as jazz. It's so beautiful to watch the videos and to listen to the music as they blend together, and folks are just celebrating in a big way. And our listeners, our followers, are going to enjoy this album. And they got their inspiration from Robert Glasper and from Kendrick Lamar. And apparently it was To Pimp a Butterfly was the early inspiration for their template as a jazz band.
Yes.
So I encourage, I do every week, but I encourage y'all to go and listen to this album and see if it doesn't resonate with your heart, with your soul. And the last piece, Everybody, the track is called Everybody. Today I was listening to it. I needed my sunglasses because I didn't want your mother to see that my eyes were drooling. So
that's how I feel when I listen to a couple of albums. Karma is one of them. My eyes will drip a little. What were you gonna say, Matt?
Yeah. I was gonna say I got two things real quick. So let me read what iTunes has listed for Dance No One's Watching. iTunes says it moves from getting into the club to sussing the vibe, losing yourself to the music, and feeling its euphoria. The dance floor is full of the highs and lows of life, and that's what we're channeling here on this album. So literally the entrance, the very first intro song is the crowd noise. You're getting into the club, you're getting to the dance floor, you're sussing out how's things supposed to work here, what's going on, and then it just overtakes you. I said it at the beginning. I don't know where you're coming up with them. You won't tell us where you're coming up with them, but this is a banging album.
Really
I don't know if it was because I just needed it this week, but I couldn't get enough of it. I'm 3 times deep into it since you texted it out on Friday. So,
Well, it's coming off, and I've got some notes on the slide here. It's their follow-up album to their Mercury Prize-winning album from 2022, which was Where I'm Meant to Be. This is released September 27th of 2024, so it's a brand new album. It is on the Partisan label, and this group, the Ezra Collective, fuses elements of the Afrobeat, calypso, reggae, hip-hop, soul, and jazz. And you can feel it all throughout the album. So it's a really great album. It's an hour in length, 19 songs total. So there's a few short things in there, a little bit of talking, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But man, I'm glad you read that description, Matt, because it does bring you in the front door, and then next thing you know, you're standing in the middle of the dance floor trying to figure out how did they get here.
yeah.
So, Dad, we've got a few seconds extra. You had asked earlier, could we play a clip from this album?
Oh,
If it shakes you enough, did you have a clip from this album that you wanted to hear?
wow. Yes, but I'll have to put my shades back on.
Put them up. That means we're going to the last track to everybody.
Everybody.
Let's everybody and start like at 2:30.
Man, I don't want to stop it. I'm sorry. I have to cut it off there, though. My
Yes.
goodness, what a track.
And this is like some other music. I think we talked about it last week, where it starts soft, builds up, crescendos to a higher, louder kind of crescendo feel, and then it softens at as it tapers off. Oh wow! Thanks.
There are albums along the way that get us like that. And I'm thinking in terms of like True Sorry from Abraham Malouf, or all of his tunes about the Beirut and everything that's going down. There are songs that rip you and just tear you open and realize the rawness of music. So I figured it was a good time to share that one.
Good, thank you.
You know, we covered Robert Glasper in number 89. So several,
60 some weeks ago, bro.
yes, yeah.
Over a year ago, double booked.
But I still hear you can hear the influence of Glasper on the Ezra collection.
Yes. So,
Good.
all right. That was our intermission for What's New. Now let's roll into What's Old. 1972, we're back to Herbie Hancock's Headhunters album. Do tell, what was y'all's overall take on this particular album?
Go
Okay, yeah, let me go first. I love the album. I love Herbie. For me, Chameleon it's a long song. It gets kind of repetitive and old. It's not that I want to move on, but I kind of want it. I'd hate to say to be over, to get to Watermelon Man, because Watermelon Man's my favorite track on the album. But I love that it fits so well in the timeline for the 70s. I mean, the timeline could have been written right around this album.
Yeah.
You know, this is the 70s for me, the funk jazz fusion. I listened to a lot of stuff this week by Herbie. I did listen to Mwandishi, Dedication from Herbie in 1974. Okay. The Death Wish soundtrack, I didn't really much care for. His 2010, the Imagine Project album from Herbie, that's going to be on my top 25 list from now on. It was a great week for me, for Herbie. Love the album. And you want to go ahead and do scores now, or do you want to wait till we're all done?
Let's move on till the end when we get all a chance to talk.
Right. Okay.
That way I also have a chance to figure out what mine was. Dad, your thoughts, or you want to keep going, Matt?
I'm good.
Well, I'm not much for synthesizers, because what I picture is that he put the track down, or whatever you call it, and it just plays over and over and over, like over and over again. So I'm wondering what he actually did in this album, except lay the bass down.
Okay. You're thinking of more like Ed Sheeran, where he overdubs all of his stuff. I don't think that at all.
Okay, so he actually played through the whole piece, each piece, because I appreciate knowing that, because thinking through it, I thought, well, that seems pretty simple, and there's not a lot of improv if he's doing that. So I did not necessarily appreciate the overall album, though parts, like some of the parts that we played, that's some kicking parts. And it's too bad we weren't able to play something from Sly, because there's some good stuff on each one of these tracks. So I don't want to discredit the whole album by the length of Chameleon.
Yep.
Okay, so that's where I am with the album. Herbie, of course, master. He's the master.
Yeah.
And how do you say anything negative about Herbie? Because he's the master.
Yeah, you just don't.
You want to say, Master Herbie, Master Herbie.
It's like Master Yoda.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's interesting, though, because, Dad, I can see where you're coming from. There's such repetition in all of the songs that you could almost hear it just recorded. So he sits down with 2 or 3 tracks, just hits play, and then plays something over it and lets everybody play with it. When you watch some of the videos of what they're doing, they are creating it on the spot. And so to me, it is 100% improv. Let's go. Here's what I'm hearing. Here's what I'm feeling. Let's play something here. And his setup was a 90-degree setup. So he'd had multiple stacks on either side so that maybe he does have a repetitious system going, but then he's going to play extra notes and bend those notes. So to me, it was really cool. First of all, that you recognize the repetition of it, and there could be some mind melting of just boredom. But then to understand where we were in the 70s. This is 1973 when it came out. We're coming right out of the 60s and the psychedelic rock music. We're coming right out of Woodstock. And we're trying to create something that has that flavor, has that funk of the 60s, has that jazz of the 50s and 60s, and that jazz fusion moving forward. I think that was a big deal.
Well, if I may, I've never sat in front of a full synthesizer keyboard. I used to have that little Casio that had 12 keys on it, and you could change the beats and everything. Just with that little keyboard, there's 1,000 different combinations of sounds that you can make and beats that you could have been playing. I can't imagine sitting in front of a full synthesizer trying to pick what sound you want in this specific location of the song, and then what sound you want in this specific location of the song, and how brain melting that must be to have 80,000 sounds to choose from, and you've got to pick. Obviously he's not going to pick a trumpet sound, but he's going to pick a synthesized sound, and then I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but you got to make notes. Oh, that was sound number 255,802
on keyboard 1, left hand side. Then there's 2 and 3, 1, 2, and 3 on the right hand side. So,
right.
Yeah,
so,
you're not playing games then.
So it's a matter of concentration at that point. And yes, I get the repetition, because I mentioned that too about Chameleon. It's just repetitive over and over. And not that I want the song to end, but it's like, all right, move on. Let's get something else. But I can't imagine the amount of concentration that it took just Herbie, just sitting there. Yeah. I got to play on this keyboard at this time, and then over here, and then down here, and then over here. Wow.
That's what I'm thinking. Wow.
Yeah.
This week and last time we went through this, I gorged on a lot of the 70s Herbie stuff. So I got into 72 Crossing, 1971 Mwandishi, 74 Thrust, 75 Man-Child, the H.H. Trio, Herbie Hancock Trio, just really broke it all up in 75. Direct Step, Third Plane. And then this week, I went back to the old school 1962 Taken Off to listen to these tracks again as it was jazz. Thrust, the new standard, of course. I mean, come on. But I ended up back to Man-Child again. And then an evening with Chick Corea and Herbie. 1+1, which was Wayne Shorter and Herbie. So I gorged on Herbie stuff for sure. The music just took me away, but I almost wonder if Man-Child couldn't have been the album in place of this. Man-Child to me was such a great album, and I ran into something this week that really made me stop and ponder, how serious is this jazz funk fusion? And what hit me is I was listening to a different track completely from the album We Like It Here by Snarky Puppy. Lingus is their song that I'm stuck listening to, and this week I started trying to play it. I just wanted to play by ear. Can I play the trumpet part in this? And the more I listened to it, I'm like, I have heard this song before. I've heard it. I've heard 1975 Man-Child from Herbie Hancock. And I'm like, those two songs are hand in hand. It got the same energy. And then you go back and listen to this week's album, and I'm like, oh, it all started right here with this album.
Yeah.
So I loved it. Let's get into some rating.
Well, okay, hang on before we do that. On the 1999 list, the Headhunters album, this album, stayed right at number 20. On the 06 list, it moved up to 17 on the list. So it moved 3 spaces up. Of course, in the 2022 list, the one that we're working on, right back down at 20. I'm not mad at where it's at on the list. Not at all. I think it's a perfect spot.
All I know is they better make room for Charlie Parker, because we're in the top 20, baby. We're in the top 20 albums that have shaken the world. Do you realize that?
And we have yet to hear from from Bird. Mm-hmm.
Man. I do want to mention before we get into ratings, this album, 1973, had Herbie Hancock on keyboards, Benny Maupin on sax and the bass clarinet, Harvey Mason on the drums, Paul Jackson on the bass, and Bill Summers on percussion. I didn't do that earlier, but I think it's important just to put those names out there. It was a group, back to the timeline slide I'll drop in now, it was a group that a few of them were consistent from the beginning through the end, and Herbie played a small part, almost kicking off the Headhunters. Now, this album was Herbie Hancock. The album was called Headhunters. The next albums that started to roll out were the Headhunters band. So this was Herbie's band. They did an album called Headhunters. Then Headhunters became the band, and then they started to produce things like Survival of the Fittest, Straight from the Gate, Return of the Headhunters in '98 with Herbie, and then Evolution, Revolution, and from there so on. 2024, the Stuntman. So the Headhunters as a band has got a lot of great stuff out there.
Sure do.
So I'm ready to rate.
Okay, me too. But I'm curious. Let's let Dad go first, if you don't mind.
Maybe you were able to pick up an idea or what based on my response to the album when I commented. So I gave this a solid 8.
Okay.
An 8.
I'm not mad at that.
I thought you were about to go lower.
Me too.
So
An 8.
I was just going to tell you, if you go below 6, I'm going to hang up on you.
I'm not mad at that. That's fair. That's going to be pretty fair.
Yeah. You know, the improv, the creativity, it's right up there. It's not my style necessarily. But you know, the album cover, I definitely like the album cover, but the flow of it definitely flowed. But I just had trouble feeling and it moving me. It didn't really move me like some other music, some other jazz music might move me. So I gave it an 8.
Okay. I like it. I really do. And it met my criteria as well. Our criteria, Drew. The craftsmanship definitely is there. We've talked about Herbie on the synth and all the work that takes. The awareness, how each musician is playing, and can you hear all the instruments? The creativity obviously is there on Headhunters for me. The spirit, I get the spirit of funk. The whole album is funky. The emotion for me hit a high mark this week. My score is a solid 9.
Yep. And I think that it hit all of the things. What was interesting to me is I'm getting to be a little bit more open beyond all things to the different music. And I think that we, about 50 weeks in, started to realize there's more to jazz than meets the eye. This is one of those albums coming off of John McLaughlin a couple of weeks ago that you start to hear where the rock stream of jazz moved in the late 60s and 70s. And Herbie just says, whoa, that's cool, but we forget that there's this funk down here. And I think he starts to push that stream to a little funky element of what jazz could be. Now, he throws a wrench in the whole giddy up in 1980 with Rocket. You got to wonder, is it jazz, or is he just a jazz dude having a whole lot of fun? So to me, the spirit, the emotion, the creativity, how does it make you feel? I love listening to the album. So from that, I gave this album a solid 9. Period.
Is it going to be one that you come back to frequently?
It was one that I will come back to over and over again.
Okay. If I'm in the H's and I'm looking at Herbie, this may not be one that I come back to regularly. I mean, I'm going to go to the new standards. I'm going to go to Imperial. I'm going to go to the project, the Imagine.
Yeah. Well, and Herbie and Wayne together, 1 + 1. I mean,
yeah,
forget you do that, but you got to feel the funk.
Got to feel the funk.
Surprisingly, when you ask that question about going back to it, I might go back to it just to hear the difference and catch the flow of it. I would do that. Yeah.
Good.
All right.
I mean, I've gone back to Sons of Kemet, but I love that. So there's a lot of things that shook up the world that I will do, and Headhunters is one. So tell me about your weeks.
My week?
Yeah.
Well, I had a drum lesson, number 18. Lady D came over and gave me another rock star assignment that I'm trying to catch on to. I went over to church this last week and worked on the kit and messed it up. I don't have a groove yet, but I'm working on it. Yeah. So
well, in all reality, though, you don't have a set to practice on either. So sitting down in front of a drum set, probably still feels a little overbearing, over daunting.
took your mama out for lunch and dinner one day. We went to Tall Rabbit for coffee, and as we got home, I said, "Well, there's another thing I can check off being with you."
Oh, wow.
She did not like that one bit.
I bet not.
She let me know.
Uh-huh.
But music-wise, I was kind of all over the place. I listened to Maiden Voyage again.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
And Herbie and the New Standard. I listened to some of that. It's probably not a surprise to you, but I could listen to Chicago Greatest Hits every day, and I did. I listened to that, and of course, another album by Ezra Collective was "Where I'm Meant to Be," and that we talked about that earlier. I also listened to this guy called Randall Sankey, and he played New York All-Star Salute to Bix.
Yeah.
I listened to some of that.
Now, was that the YouTube video of Randy playing, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I listened to Mingus. So I listened to that this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my week in music.
Okay.
Okay.
I love that Randy Sankey YouTube video because it brings Bix to today's technology. What I think Bix would sound like if he was recording today.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that, and it moved me so much when I watched it a year ago, because what we get of Bix, the recordings are the Jeanette recordings. They're scratchy. They're done on the heavy wax, and to hear it crisp and clean, like I think Bix would have played it. Randy, to me, he needs to be elevated to superstar status just for trying to cover it and doing so well. I mean,
yep,
you're covering one of the forefathers of jazz, and he's just knocking it out of the park. So Randy covering.
Yeah.
Bix.
I think Bix would have been proud.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. So let me get on with my week. I had a great week in music, not only jazz in my ears, but live music as well. Thursday night, Kendra and I went to the zoo for Rock and Roar, which is the adult night at the zoo. It's a fundraiser for the zoo, and they had the Sweetwater All-Stars playing. Now, last year when we went to Rock and Roar, most of the attractions were open. Most of the animals were out. This year, for whatever reason, we don't know, but they only had the boat ride available, which was over by the Sweetwater All-Stars anyways. We couldn't ride the train, we couldn't ride the sky ride, and we couldn't ride the carousel. So we spent a lot of our time listening to the Sweetwater All-Stars. Now, here's the cool thing. Chuck Shurak plays bari sax with the Sweetwater All-Stars. And so we were talking about the bari sax earlier. And just like you, I just get all giddy when he picks up that saxophone. Now, he's got the straightest face. He looks like he's bored out of his mind when he plays, but that's all night long. It's not just when he's playing the bari. But it's fun because we were with Lady D, and she knows most of those people. And so during the intermission, we're standing there at our table, and the band walks over to us and starts talking. That's the cool part. There's hundreds of people around us standing and eating and drinking and having a great time, and the band literally walks to our table and is talking with us, which was it was super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Now Chuck, he went out on his own. Friday night, that was Thursday night. Friday night, I had the honor of going to see one of my friends play in the band called Whoa Man. Now, Pete Jacobs and I graduated high school together, and Pete's been playing bass for a long time in many bands around town. Back in 2019, another star of Fort Wayne, Sonny Taylor, came to Pete and said, I want to start a band focusing on females, but I want you to play the bass, even though you're not a female. And he's like, great. Yeah, let's do it. And so this band, Whoa Man, they play cover tunes of Pat Benatar and the Go-Go's and Cyndi Lauper and the Bangles, and you name a female group, they do cover. And here's the thing, they are phenomenal. Like I don't care for cover bands when they're bad, but these guys are amazing. So if you're ever in Fort Wayne, you get a chance to see Whoa Man, I'll buy your ticket for you, and we'll go see Whoa Man together. Another cool thing, Pete, we walked down during intermission. Pete gave us a big hug. He said, you guys, two of my favorite people standing here watching me tonight, so I'm proud of that. So that made us feel good because we had some friends with us Friday night. Saturday, that's just Friday and that's just Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Saturday, Kendra and I traveled to Dublin, Ohio for our annual trek for Irish Fest. And it was a gorgeous weekend. Last year it was rainy. It was so hot. We were just unbearably hot all weekend long. Saturday, we traveled to Dublin. Beautiful weekend, 79 degrees, slight breeze in the air, very, very comfortable. And we got to see our favorite band, Gaelic Storm. And then right after Gaelic Storm that night was Scarivore. So I got to see two of my favorite Irish bands play back to back. Scarivore, if you've never heard Scarivore, imagine a mix between Rush and Rush with bagpipes. That's how I can explain it. They're a great band from Scotland. They're not Irish, but they are Scottish. But you can barely understand any words that they say when they talk on the microphone. Their accent is so heavy. Now, Gaelic Storm, they've been in the States enough. They know how their dialect and everything you can understand just fine. But yeah, Scarivore, phenomenal show. Loved every minute of it. That's my weekend music.
It's interesting. Scarivore was one of the first groups that you said, check these guys out. This is before we even got into the magazine. We were sharing albums of the week. That was one of them. So, man, that was an exciting weekend for you.
It was.
A whole lot of music.
Whole lot of music.
My music this week was all over the place. Beyond all the Headhunter stuff that I could gorge, I ended up on Curtis Taylor today. That was how I finished right before I dialed in for y'all. And that was one of the new albums that we had come across recently. What was the name of it? Tailor Made by Curtis Taylor. I got some Clark Terry and some Roy Hargrove. Of course, one of the albums I forgot to mention was Fat Albert Rotunda by Herbie. The album soundtrack for Fat Albert. Hey. But I ended up, of course, Dad sent over Ezra Collective, so you check them out. The Bix Beiderbecke, Randy Sankey Meets Bix, that was an awesome one. I checked out a couple of things today by Brittany Davis. Black Thunder, really, it was a highlight from Downbeat Magazine, so I thought I would check that out. But one of them that I come into was Pete McGinnis, Mixed Bag, the Jazz Orchestra. So I found some new music. I've enjoyed some really great stuff. It's been a fun, interesting week as we get close to school kicking off for my daughter and all the other stuff that happens around here. So, yeah.
That sounds like a great weekend music too.
Great
Pete McGinnis. You'll have to.
Pete McGinnis. I'll send you all. I'll put it up on screen right now.
Perfect.
Pete McGinnis, and it's listed in the front five or six pages of Downbeat Magazine this month. So you can check it out. It's a bag of groceries with instruments sticking out of it. Pete McGinnis, Jazz Orchestra.
Okay.
But that's also where I got that quote from the early on. You can find us on all your favorite streaming platforms, or however they worded that. That's where that was. So, who's got Magazzini ready? Oh, you're going to Pete McGinnis.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll do that later. I got it ready. Can I introduce?
Please do.
All right.
We're going to West Montgomery.
Nope. Nice try. We are on number 19 of our countdown. Number 19 is Charlie Christian. The Genius of the Electric Guitar is the name of the album. It was released on the Columbia label on LP and CD. It's got Charlie Christian on guitar, Cootie Williams on tenor, Benny Goodman on clarinet, trumpet, Lester Young and Georgie Auld on tenor sax, Lionel Hampton on the vibes. I see Lionel Hampton, my eyes perk up because I love me some vibes. You know that. Johnny Guarnieri and Count Basie on the piano. Artie Bernstein and Walter Page on the bass. Nick Fatul and Joe Jones and Dave Tuff on the drums. And it says, and many others. Okay, so there's lots of musicians. This was recorded from 1939 to 1941. The actual album that we're going to listen to is released in 1987. So it's a recompilation of the genius of the electric guitar. I will say Charlie Christian was Wes Montgomery's kind of teacher influence. And then, of course, Wes Montgomery and to Pat Metheny. So the hero of my hero's hero better be my daggone hero.
Better be.
Better be.
Be good. Good to go back to some guitar and listen to it from where Wes's inspiration come from.
Right.
Will you hear it? Will you know it? Will you pick up Wes? And if you had to listen to the two side by side, not knowing who inspired who. So Charlie Christian, compilation album. All right.
Okay.
Well, that wraps the show up.
Say goodnight.
Good night.